Hello, it's Annette here, and welcome to Tales of Repetition Compulsion. Have you ever wondered why we seem to repeat the same painful patterns in our lives, even when we desperately want things to be different? Why we keep ending up in the same painful, hurtful situations without understanding how we got there? This was something I didn't understand in my own life until in my 40s. A clued-in therapist named Pat O'Connor, he made me aware that I was repeating toxic patterns I had learned in my difficult childhood. Tales of Repetition Compulsion is a series where I show how a difficult or toxic childhood can subconsciously follow us into our adult lives through these toxic patterns. I explain this using real-life examples or tales to make the psychological concept easier to understand. For new viewers, I will briefly explain two important concepts that I talk a lot about on this channel, and they are the 6 bad messages and repetition compulsion. For my subscribers, if you're already familiar with these two concepts from my other videos, just feel free to skip ahead to where I tell today's tale. So let me ask you 3 questions. Did you have a difficult childhood? In your adult life, do you find yourself repeatedly getting into toxic or even abusive situations? And are you tired of living this way? If you answered yes to these questions, then this channel may help you. Now, there was a time when I would have answered yes to those questions myself. You see, my personal life had become a series of painful and hurtful situations, and I didn't understand why this kept happening. I know I just felt terrible shame that my life was such a catalogue of disasters. Then, I was very fortunate to meet a therapist called Pat O'Connor when I was in my 40s. He gently helped me see something I had never recognized before, that I was subconsciously repeating toxic patterns that I had learned in my difficult childhood. Now, I had no idea I was doing this because these patterns operate at a subconscious level. So, if you think about it like this, how could I stop doing something that was harming me if I didn't even know I was doing it? Someone had to make me aware that I was doing this. And that is why I now say that the first step to healing from repeating toxic childhood patterns is awareness. When we become aware of the toxic patterns we are repeating, we finally have the opportunity to stop doing this. So, why do toxic childhood patterns follow us into our adult lives? Why does this happen? There are 2 main reasons. The first reason is that during a difficult childhood, we learn core beliefs about ourselves. These core beliefs become damaged. I call these damaged core beliefs the 6 bad messages, because they're not the truth about who we are. We learn them subconsciously in a toxic childhood, and sadly, they then subconsciously shape how we see ourselves and how we behave throughout our adult lives. I have a playlist on the 6 bad messages with lots of real-life examples to help explain this concept to you. Now, the second reason a difficult childhood follows us into adulthood is through a psychological process called repetition compulsion. I also have a series of playlists where I show how repetition compulsion invades every area of our lives. So, what is repetition compulsion? I like to explain it as follows. Children learn what they live. What a child experiences becomes their normal. It becomes what feels familiar to them. And as adults, we are subconsciously programmed, are compelled or wired to recreate what feels normal or familiar to us, even when those situations are painful or harmful. So, if a child grows up in a toxic or abusive environment, they may later find themselves repeatedly drawn into similar situations in their adult lives. Now, this is not because they want suffering, and it is not their fault. It happens because the subconscious mind is trying to recreate what it recognizes as normal or familiar. This powerful pull towards familiar patterns is what we call repetition compulsion, the tendency to repeat in our adult lives what we first learned as children, even if it harms us. Later in this video, my 3 dogs, who I call the 3 wise tales, they'll show you the 3 steps that helped me break these patterns and begin healing from repetition compulsion and the 6 bad messages. So, in today's Tales of Repetition Compulsion number 25, the life category is health and self-care. The bad message is you are not enough, and the character is Eva. Let's see how when Eva has a tummy ache as a child, she learns this bad message, and how it then subconsciously controls how she feels about herself when it comes to her health and self-care as an adult. We meet Eva when she is 9 years old. She often complains of stomach aches before school. One morning, as she's getting herself dressed for school, her mother passes by the bedroom. So Eva sticks her head out the door and calls her mother in, saying she wants to ask her something. Her mother is rushing around, trying to get herself ready because she has to bring Eva to school. So her mother stands at the door, looking exasperated, waiting for Eva to ask the question. "What do you want? You know I'm busy," she says to Eva. "My tummy is hurting again today. Can I please stay at home, Mammy? It's really sore," says Eva. Her mother becomes irritated and says, "There's always something wrong with you. Stop being so dramatic and stop asking to stay at home. Get yourself ready now." And with that, her mother starts to walk off. There's no discussion about Eva's tummy pain. There's no discussion as to why this pain always happens during the school week. Eva knows better than to push for what she's asking for, so she instantly apologizes for being so much trouble, and she continues to get ready for school. This pattern of Eva's tummy pain being ignored results in Eva subconsciously learning the first bad message that when it comes to her feeling unwell, she is not enough, and she is just not worth caring for. So subconsciously, Eva learns, my pain doesn't matter. My needs upset people. And as Eva grows up, this is what she thinks about herself. I am not enough to be cared for. Now, let's fast forward to Eva as an adult. She's 38 years old, and one day she develops a terrible toothache. She knows she should go to a dentist, obviously, but what does she do? She talks herself out of it. She starts putting off a dental appointment. Why? Because she feels she can't possibly ask for time off work because that will just disrupt everybody else. So she tells herself she'll just put up with the pain, that it will eventually settle. But the pain doesn't settle, and Eva ends up with an awful abscess that eventually does need urgent dental care. So, nothing has changed for Eva, has it? Just like it was when she was a little girl, she is still being controlled by the first bad message, which is, you are not enough and you are not worth caring for. This is the message Eva subconsciously learned when she was sick as a child. And this is repetition compulsion in action, where the past is replayed in the present, not because Eva chooses it, but because the subconscious bad message, I am not enough, is still controlling her behaviour. This is what she learned as a child. It became her normal. And until this is brought into Eva's awareness, she will keep repeating what feels familiar and normal, even when it hurts. And now, I'm going to hand you over to the 3 wise tales. These 3 beauties were a constant support to me when I was trying to break free from the control of the 6 bad messages and repetition compulsion. And they're still a constant support in my life. They're going to show you the 3 ways to break free from being controlled by the 6 bad messages and repetition compulsion. Hello, Petal. Hello, Blossie. And hello, Dottie. Delighted you are here. Now get to work.
Hello, my name is Petal, and I am the first of the 3 wise tales. Today we're going to show you the 3 ways to break free from the control of 2 toxic hidden forces. They are the 6 bad messages and repetition compulsion. Please see the videos suggested at the end for a more detailed explanation of these 2 forces. The 2 forces of the 6 bad messages and repetition compulsion go hand in hand. They feed into each other. When these 2 forces run our lives subconsciously, we are not in control. Our subconscious minds are in control. Therefore, we are not the top dog. We are just a cog trapped inside the toxic machinery of these 2 forces. So that's why the first way to heal is awareness. Now that you are here, look at it like this, listening to this, you are already becoming aware, and this is wonderful. Awareness means you start to look at your adult patterns, realizing now for the first time that you are forced to repeat your toxic and abusive childhood situations, and again knowing for the first time that it is not your fault that you do this, so you are not to blame yourself. Awareness means you start to control what you think about yourself. You get to decide what messages you tell yourself. Do you want to feed yourself bad messages, or do you want to feed yourself good messages? The moment you become aware that you are being controlled by these 2 toxic forces, they no longer control you. You control them as you have moved them from your subconscious mind to your conscious mind. And remember, we can control what is in our conscious mind. Awareness moves you out of being a helpless cog and starts to put you in the position of top dog. Awareness opens the door to making fantastic, conscious changes in your life, and these changes will at last stop you landing yourself in toxic and abusive situations. And now I'll hand you over to Blossie. He's going to explain to you the second way to break free from the control of these 2 toxic, sinister, hidden forces.
Hello, my name is Blossie, and I am the second of the 3 wise tales. I am very old, so these days I have a long white beard. But being very old doesn't just mean I have a hairy face. It also means I am very wise, and I am so happy to share this wisdom with you. Now let me tell you why the second way to heal is so important. Most people who grew up in toxic or abusive homes were never taught to trust their feelings or instincts. In fact, they were often taught the opposite. If they ever dared to speak up and give their opinion on something, or if they ever expressed how they felt about something, they were often told, "Oh, you're too sensitive," or "You're just imagining things," or "Oh, don't be so dramatic," or "Will you keep your opinions to yourself and don't make trouble?" Over time, they learned to disconnect from their feelings and their instincts, and in doing this, they disconnected from their inner warning system. And that inner warning system, your feelings and your instincts, it is your natural defense system. When you don't trust your instincts, you can't protect yourself. And when you can't protect yourself, you would be easily exploited by toxic and abusive people. That's how repetition compulsion keeps you as a cog. You keep walking back into toxic relationships. You keep tolerating mistreatment. You keep overriding the feeling that says, this doesn't feel right. I should be away from this. But when you start to listen to your feelings and trust your instincts, everything changes. Your instincts sense danger before your thoughts even catch up. Trusting your feelings and your instincts means you start choosing safety. You start choosing yourself. You start saying no to toxic and abusive situations. And every time you listen to that inner voice, you step out of the machinery. You stop being a cog and you become the top dog. You become the boss of your life. Because top dogs protect themselves. Top dogs listen to their inner voices. Top dogs don't abandon themselves just to keep the peace. Top dogs protect themselves from toxic and abusive situations. So today, no more being a cog. Today, you start being the top dog. And now, let me hand you over to Dottie. She's going to tell you the third way to break free from the control of repetition compulsion and the 6 bad messages.
Hello, my name is Dottie, and I am the third of the 3 wise tales. I am the queen of the pack. I'm the entertainer. I keep everyone happy. So I am definitely the top dog in this house. Now listen closely, because this final step is powerful. The 6 bad messages didn't come from nowhere. They came from having to survive a tough childhood. And here's the truth. The 6 bad messages are not facts. They are lies you learned. So, the third way to heal is to nip and flip the bad messages. You catch a bad message, you nip it in the bud, you don't give it airtime, you don't entertain it. Then you flip it to the truth about yourself. You flip the bad message about yourself to a good message about yourself. So, you are not enough becomes I am enough exactly as I am. You are responsible for others, adults, becomes I am only responsible for myself. You are alone becomes no, I'm not alone. I matter and I belong and lots of people love me. Now, you might say, Dottie, that's so obvious. But it isn't obvious, as we are feeding ourselves these bad messages from our subconscious minds. Therefore, we don't even know we are doing this. But when we nip and flip, we bring the bad message into our awareness, into our conscious mind. And by doing this, we are in control. And we can now retrain our minds to believe the truth, to believe the good messages. So, every time you nip and flip, you take your power back, because top dogs choose their thoughts. Top dogs choose to feed themselves good messages about themselves. Top dogs choose to ignore the lying, nasty, bad messages. Top dogs are no longer cogs. So today, me, Petal, Blossie and Annette, we want to tell you this. You are not alone. You really do matter. And we are all here together learning to have better lives. We really care about you. And one last thing. The 3 wise tales, we have a very important good message to tell you. We want to tell you that we really, really woof you.